Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring your attention to a reality that does not exist in a silo in the United States of America, but it is in fact systemic. We simply know about them in silos. Here's the situation. According to a newly unsealed FBI search warrant affidavit obtained by the Daily Beast, an active duty US Marine came under federal investigation for allegedly plotting to bomb the DNC and murder black people. USMC Private First Class Travis Owens, the active duty Marine. Can I say that again? Active duty Marine. Plotted with two other suspects. Private First Class Travis Owens and his partners in the unrealized murder plot were influenced by Timothy McVeigh, the former US Army soldier behind the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing that left 168 people dead and injured nearly 700. The investigation began in late August 2019 when a tipster contacted the FBI about disturbingly violent conversations they had observed in a private Facebook Messenger chat group named Right Wing Death Squad. According to the FBI, 3 men were behind the troubling chats: James Wisdom of Arkansas, mechanic Jason Dijon Garfield, also of Arkansas, and Owens, a Marine Corps E1 from Arkansas, stationed at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. The trio seemed to be preparing a full-blown race war. Their goals were laid out in a group chat underneath exhortations such as, "Wisdom, we can accelerate today for a new world order tomorrow." And then utilize racial terms and said they will hang black people from trees. In their back and forth, Garfield also discussed assassinating Arkansas State Senator Stephanie Flowers. Only one of the 3 have been charged. Garfield, who in May of 2021 was sentenced to 78 months in prison for illegal gun possession. A DOJ spokesperson confirmed to the Daily Beast that charges against Wisdom and Owens have not been filed. However, Owens was kicked out of the Marine Corps in April 2020 after news of the investigation was revealed. Let me read this from Captain Andrew Wood, spokesperson told the Daily Beast: participation in supremacist or extremist organizations or activities is a violation of Department of Defense and Marine Corps orders and will lead to mandatory processing for separation following the first substantiated claim or incident. The Marine Corps is clear on its stance as it relates to racial hatred or extremism. There is no place for either in the Marine Corps. Our strength is derived from the individual excellence of every Marine, regardless of background. Bigotry and racial extremism run contrary to our core values. Wow. Ben, you know that this is not the only one.
Right. As you were reading, I was listening and I'm listening and I'm listening to you with these quotes, and I'm like, I'm thinking about the fact that the intelligence agencies in this country know that right-wing supremacy has infiltrated our law enforcement and military. To what extent depends on the branch, depends on whether you're police or whether you're the military. But we know that white supremacy has infiltrated, and then quite honestly, let me flip that word on its head. Not so much infiltrated, but just revealing itself, because the entire system is built on white supremacy. So I think we're at the juncture now where America is getting an opportunity to look itself in the mirror and see, like, listen, this is what you've been breeding with this nationalism. Right? This is what you've been breeding, and now we have an entire breed of, and we probably perhaps have always had people in law enforcement and people in the military who do the bidding of white supremacy, not the bidding of democracy. And I think this case is a pure example of that.
And think about the methodology and what the plan was. So one, you want to bomb people. You want to utilize the skill set that you have learned because of taxpayer dollars to bomb those same taxpayers, number one. Number two, you want to bomb the DNC, not because of your political ideology necessarily, but because the DNC will have a lot of black people there. That's according to the back and forth jargon that happened. They were there because, or they would have been there because of the influx of African American people, black people at a DNC event, and they were going to target black people to execute their strategy to bring in a new world order. This is very real. I guarantee you, I don't know the guy's political background. He voted for Trump. I can tell you that. I know that 100%. There's this connection that many in mainstream political circles are afraid to talk about. 100%. Yeah. 100% of these folks support Trump.
That's the thing, and you're right. We pretend as though as soon as someone puts on a uniform or gets behind a badge that they are somehow apolitical all of a sudden. But the truth of the matter is that they're very political. In fact, their participation in the defense, in the military, or in the policing agencies is an extension of their political ideology. A lot of them are not out there. They're not out there like a lot of black people who are just looking for a way to get out of poverty. Some of them are there because they want to be the tip of the spear for imperialism or for white supremacy, depending on which iteration we're dealing with domestically or internationally.
Yeah, and it continues to amaze me, Ben, that they will receive the narrative of being a patriot. There are those who will become apologists for them. Let me give you another example. And this is off topic, but there's a connection. You have Republicans, mainstream Republicans and Trump supporters calling for the investigation and arrest of Dr. Fauci, right? They would like Congress to have a full investigation, taxpayer-funded investigation, because of a book that was written that Fauci had nothing to do with, that may or may not contradict a statement that Fauci said while he was testifying before Congress, is ambiguous at best. But you want the resources of the federal government, taxpayer dollars, the US Congress, and our DOJ to focus on Dr. Fauci. However, these are the same people, Ben, who say we should not have an investigation into what happened on January 6th. The same individuals.
And they're fully cognizant of that. They know the hypocrisy. They know the cognitive dissonance that they're dealing with. It's part of their agenda. They will gaslight us to no end. They want that absolute, where anything that we do on our side of the equation that is remotely good for progress or even for saving lives in the case of COVID-19 and Dr. Fauci, they are willing to stop at nothing. There's no investigation that they won't undertake. There's no expense that they won't spend. There's no tax dollars. They're not afraid of it. They need to keep it to an absolute standstill to make sure that we don't make any progress. But if they march up the steps of the Capitol, well, that's debatable whether or not we should investigate that.
Right, and there's no ambiguity as it relates to the insurrection. Everyone saw what happened. Everyone is aware of what went down, but they want to investigate Dr. Fauci. That's, yeah.